Hello again, and welcome to Super Deluxe Gamescast for Thursday, July 23rd. If you're not aware, SDGC meets right here each and every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we discuss the latest gaming headlines and the politics of both the art form and the industry. If you've been along for the ride so far, welcome home. And if not, thank you for sticking. Thank you for fuck it, we're live. Okay, I've already
It's
had
been
one
one of
drink
those
tonight.
nights.
Our motto.
We're live.
I've already had one drink tonight, and I'm halfway through my second one, and I just don't have
I gotta grab my
Oh,
beer.
never
I'll be
mind.
right back.
I need to go get mine.
Get
Hold
one.
on.
Well,
Please.
everybody's fucking.
Yeah, hold on.
I brought my water. I'm prepared.
Everybody's fucking gone.
Everybody left. Everybody just left to get alcohol. Like that's a glowing endorsement of this show. Where like 3 out of the 5 people just left to grab alcohol to make it through an episode.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
So someone go ahead and capture that and put it on Twitter. Literally fucking everybody immediately leaves to go get oh, how that's beautiful. So Justin, thank you for being the one person who stood his ground and said, you know what, I don't need the devil's libation to do a podcast. I'm ready to talk about video games now. As I take a sip
I
of my
deal
alcohol.
with you all sober.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your fault. You should just be high on life, Justin.
I just fucking love that literally everybody got up and left.
Priorities.
All right, so welcome to SDGC, everybody. It's been a very busy week. Well, when I say busy, it's been busy for Xbox and not so busy for other big.
We're here to talk about Nintendo.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about some Nintendo stuff. We're gonna talk about some Xbox stuff.
I mean, that was a big direct we got to go through, guys.
It was. It is.
I don't know.
Like, I mean, hopefully we've got time. But at any rate, you may have noticed that we have a new face here on the podcast. This is
me.
Brittney. It's Brittney.
Hello.
At It's Peachia on
Hello.
Twitter. Brittney is an STGC community member, and she is the first in a line of community members we will be highlighting here on the podcast. Brittney, how long have you actually been listening to this fucking train wreck?
Probably a little over a year now.
I'm sorry for that.
Because I think I started following you from Kyle Gatto
Yeah.
when the E3 shit came out and it was the Call of Duty shit. That's when I started following you, and then after I started following you, then that's when I started watching the podcast.
Okay. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you actually rate the quality and content of?
You know what? Not
SDGC?
everything's perfect. We don't need to discuss that. We can just
Like I would give us a solid 7 or maybe 6.5. I think.
Okay, so the people grade your content, as in you specifically, maybe not the greatest.
Fantastic.
So, Brittney, you actually have your own channel, right?
Yeah, but I
You have
I stream when I can.
Well, yeah, that's all any of us can do.
Yeah.
But Brittney, what is your favorite genre of video game?
It's changed so much over the years. So I love classic RPGs.
Yeah.
But now I think more than anything I'm into, I don't even know what the fucking type it's called, but like right now I'm playing through The Last of Us, love Horizon, Tomb Raider, like all those types of games from like that, like God of War especially. That's the kind of games I'm really into now.
So you're not into like Overcooked, for example?
Oh fuck no, I love Overcooked. It ruins friendships, but I mean, who doesn't love Overcooked?
That's a real shame.
It also ruins people's chances of winning contests.
Somebody eject Brittney from the
Do
Discord.
you guys not like How do you not like? You make
So
pizza and burgers.
No,
How do you not like
I
that?
love Overcooked. John can't make a pizza to save his life, and it got him.
I'm gonna course correct this here because I don't want to be the hard drive article about the podcast that only makes inside jokes. So John, why don't you give everyone some context for why you don't like Overcooked?
So in 2018, at PAX West, I was part of the first Kind of Funny Intersite Gaming tournament, and I was representing SDGC. Now I made it. Before I go any further, I made it to the second round, right? Like fucking MLG over here. You know, like I'm a fucking pro. I'm a fucking pro gamer.
Yeah,
over here,
okay. All right.
So hey, dude, you know what? Fuck you, okay? Because I made it to the second round and you didn't. You didn't even make it to the first round. All right. But
I wasn't invited.
I know, that's the whole point. There. That's the whole point, Justin. I made it to the first round and you didn't. But what had happened is I made it to the second round and I fought I played that motherfucker Jeff Grubb in Overcooked. And to be fair, in my defense, hold on, Brittney, the pizza dough looks like hamburger patties. Okay, like it does. It fucking does. I don't care what anybody says. It does. And Greg Miller didn't give me a chance to actually finish. Apparently, people thought that I was doing so badly that he just ended the.
It was a mercy kill
prematurely. but like I'm like a fucking Wolverine. Like when you back me into a corner. It's like a caged animal. I get vicious, and I was about to pull back.
John, you still lost.
You know what? I only lost because the game was stopped early. Okay, there was a fucking opportunity for me to come back.
Well, did they stop early because of you? You didn't really clarify that.
They didn't stop early because of me per se.
Yes.
They didn't stop early. You know what?
The story's going off the rails.
Who cares? Who fucking cares? What else do we got? Who else is here? Jeff is here, and Finn is here, and Justin is here. Great. Fucking fine. Let's talk about video games.
I like video games.
Wow.
Can you feel the love?
I am not sore at all about...
Hey, John, tell me what you think about the idea of Overcooked 1 and 2 coming to next gen with an Overcooked 3 on the way.
I don't think about it.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking community night.
Right, I was just about to say, when the Overcooked community
That
night.
Would be an excellent choice.
You motherfuckers can have
that or Friday the 13th. I still want a Friday the 13th.
So
community night.
Friday the 13th is actually, it's one of those so bad it's good games.
Oh god, I love it.
I wanted to play it so bad, but I thought I got shut down or something. Wasn't there the whole
No, it's still
there was all the problems with like the rights and things like that. Am I crazy?
Yeah, they can't update it.
Okay, so basically they can't update it, but the game's still alive.
Okay, I thought it shut down because I'm like, fuck, I want to play that game. I love shit like that.
So like my first experience with Friday the 13th, I was playing, it's all online, and I'm running around and just marveling at how fucking janky and terrible everything looks. And I run into a closet to hide, but my character's gut is like clipping through the closet doors as are his shoes. And I was like, oh. And Jason walks in and stands there for like 20 seconds. And I'm just assuming that the guy playing Jason is fucking utterly confused by what's happening. And then he just walks up to the closet, runs me through with his machete, and fucking disapparates like a Harry Potter
To be fair,
character.
whenever you hide in a closet in Friday the 13th, it never works out for you.
It doesn't. But in the movies, your stomach and shoes don't clip through the door. So like, and then the very next game, I almost made it out. You have to call the police, and the police got there, and I ran towards the police sounds, but the police car glitched out and didn't show up, so it couldn't save me. And then Jason showed up and stabbed me in the back.
No,
it was a really
very glitchful. But
I'm hearing a whole lot of stories of John not being good at games too.
I was hearing a rumor about Finn being kicked off the podcast.
Can we hear from someone who's good at video games? Like,
hey, shut the fuck up, Jeff.
No, I'm just curious. Like, has anyone been playing anything they're good at?
Who here?
Yeah, let's do. Can we've been playing? Like,
fine, Justin, why don't you start?
So, earlier today, I platinumed Ghost of Tsushima. I very much enjoyed that game. Like the level design, like the mission design, is very basic, and the main overarching story hits like every single samurai movie cliche that you could imagine. But it's really well executed, and the game's just super fucking fun. Like the combat system is super good. Oh yeah, and it's gorgeous. I think it has one of the biggest folders of screenshots on my PS4 right now. Yeah, Jeff.
Did you press R2 to honor the dead?
Oh, I pressed R2 plenty of times to honor the dead.
Wait.
Yeah, that's a regular thing. Also, there's some if you swipe down on the touchpad, you bow, and I bowed plenty.
Were you just bowing to random shit?
Oh yeah.
Just like bowing to trees and rocks.
One time I bowed at a frog statue and like hundreds of frogs spawned around me. That was cool. And then also if you swipe right, you can,
Get a match on Tinder?
Sheath. No.
Finn.
Oh.
I mean, that doesn't work for me. It might work for other people, but not for me.
No.
So you take your katana and resheath it, and I'm pretty sure I did that after like every single fight. The wipe your katana off and put it away. It's just a blast to play. I really, really like Sucker Punch's games, and it just like a lot of people have been clamoring for a while to they want a game like this set in Japan. Like it's been one of the most requested Assassin's Creed settings, right? And that hasn't happened and stuff. And I think this game absolutely scratches the itch that people had for it. Like there's room for improvement, but like it's been a long time since I've just purely enjoyed an open world game as much as I did Ghost of Tsushima. Like it doesn't Justin. It also just doesn't have some of the things that have gotten kind of annoying in some open world games for me. Like it doesn't have colored loot. It doesn't have crafting. It doesn't give you different amounts of experience points depending on how you take out an enemy, which kind of puts you in a position where you are like, okay, I want to do the thing that gets me most XP, not the way I think it would be most fun to play.
So it
really lets you play the way you want.
It doesn't have any type of crafting?
Well, I mean, there are like you do get upgrades and stuff, but it's more you go to like a smith and trade them a bunch of things. Okay. You don't like just go into a menu and like gather up stuff. Like your consumable items like the kunai and sticky bombs and stuff, like you can't make those. You have to find them or purchase them.
Okay.
So
I'm
like
so overcrafting in games.
the upgrade system isn't like much different than the typical crafting systems, but like contextually it at least feels different because you're going to somebody that would be able to do it instead of just doing it on the fly in the middle of the wilderness or something.
I've heard it's got some fucking gameplay mechanics and mission setup from like a decade ago though. Like
not that bad. I mean, like definitely early on there's some really basic missions, but like as it goes on, like at least the stories around the missions get better, and like I think the game knows where it excels is in combat, so it's really trying to facilitate combat, and it gives you some really cool combat encounters. Like in Act 1 the side missions do feel very basic, but especially like the ally missions and the mythic quests, eventually they get to a point where the writing in them is actually pretty strong, and like the ally quests provide a lot of characterization that is missing from the main narrative that I thought was pretty necessary. So I was really glad that I took the time to do those.
Is there insta-fail stealth in the game?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Adding it to the list.
Here's the thing. I felt
there's also tailing missions and tracking missions. And, yeah.
I felt so bad the first time I assassinated somebody. And you get a flashback to your uncle telling you that you're a piece of shit for assassinating somebody.
But I really enjoyed the game. I think fans of Sucker Punch's games are going to be very happy with it. Like Sucker Punch has never really pushed the envelope when it comes to open world design. They've just made good games within that framework, and Ghost of Tsushima follows that up pretty well. And I mean, it's also just one of the most gorgeous games I've ever played. Like the look and feel of the world is exactly what you would want from this kind of setting. So I really enjoyed it. So I recommend it.
So I'll go next, and I'm going to be fast, and I'm going to kick it over to Brittney. I've been playing Paper Mario and Crosscode all week. Paper Mario is fucking delightful. As somebody who's played every single Paper Mario game and loves them all except for Sticker Star, because nobody loves fucking Sticker Star. Paper Mario is the Origami King is an absolute joy. It's kind of a mix between things I love about the 1,000-Year Door and things I love about Color Splash. And I find that it's like a nice, healthy balance of those two gameplay styles. Having said that, like for people who are pining for that, straight up turn-based RPGs, 1,000-Year Door gameplay style, like I understand why they would be frustrated that it's not fully here. Having said that, it's one of the most gorgeous games on the Switch, right next to Luigi's Mansion 3. The music is delightful. The writing, of course, in the Paper Mario games is always hilarious. Except for that one, like I did, and I posted a picture of it. I found that one treasure. It was treasure number 69.
I was just
and
about to
it's
mention that.
shaped like a tower with
Yeah,
balls.
tower. What?
Yeah, like it's shaped like a.
It's a tower.
It's a tower. It's a tower. But I saw it, and I was like, okay, cool, and I moved on. and I've also been playing Crosscode, which is I'm 75 hours in now, and I think I'm near the end. It's just a fucking massive game, and I couldn't be happier about it. I fucking love Crosscode. Our review is up. Finn and I did a review. You can check it out right now on Spotify and iTunes and SoundCloud and all that good shit. But that's what I'm playing right now. Brittney, what about you?
Playing The Last of Us 2 days ago. I just finished the first Last of Us a week ago.
Is that the first time you'd finished it?
Yeah, so you guys want to hear a funny
Oh,
story about my
I
problem with
do.
The Last of Us?
I do want to hear a funny story.
So, do you guys remember back in the 360 and the PS3 days, like that was like hardcore console wars? Well,
I don't know what you're talking
Thankfully,
about.
we've
Brittney.
moved past those now.
so I was a 360 girl, always a 360 girl. I didn't get my PS3 until like it was towards the end of that genre of consoles. And Last of Us was actually one of my first games that I got for it. And so I started playing the game, and I got up until a certain point where you meet, I don't even remember, Billy, the car guy. So I got like a good point.
Yeah, William.
Yeah.
Bill. That was
Bill,
his name.
yeah, Bill. And it was big for me because I'm not a big like horror game player. I have anxiety, it's just fucking. So that was a big step for me. And then my friend, I don't know why, he was obsessed with wanting to watch Looper. So we went out one night and we went to Blockbuster when they were still open and existed.
I forgot.
We went to
about that
Walmart
shit.
and we finally fucking found Looper, and he was like, "You gotta watch it. You gotta watch Looper." So we go back to my house, pop the Blu-ray into my PS3. It completely fucking bricks my PS3. Meanwhile, I've had my 360, and the biggest thing about was, the Red Ring of Death never fucking happened to me on my 360. But my PS3, you put fucking Looper into my PlayStation and it just died. So I called Sony. I was able to get my PlayStation sent in. They fixed it and everything, but I lost everything. I lost all my saves for everything, and of course, thankfully, it wasn't my main console, so I didn't lose anything. But I just never had the motivation to replay The Last of Us. And it's funny because when I got it back, I replayed until the same point that I got to before, but then I just never continued. So finally this time I did it and I played through it. And y'all, I have to tell you, playing through that game for the first time in a pandemic it's an experience.
That's the reason my wife hasn't played The Last of Us 2 yet.
So it's funny because when I first went into the game, the main thing you experience at the beginning of the game is clickers and runners. You're in the underground areas and that you have all that shit. Well, what you don't understand is there's such a small part of the game, and the real big enemy is people. And I was like, ooh, that hits a little too close to home with what's going on right now. It's there's a virus, and yeah, it sucks, but it's the people and how they react to society falling that ultimately, bring down mankind, So that was hard. Listening to Joel talk to Ellie about how things used to be was hard because I can visualize myself in that position. Whereas this game came out in 2013.
2013, right at the end of the yeah.
So it's like back then, you know, it was all just like, wow, I can't believe like nobody knows what an ice cream truck is. And now it's like, yeah, I can totally believe like she wouldn't fucking know what an ice cream truck is. So sorry. I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time and I haven't really had anything to talk about.
That's what we're here for. We're here to talk about video games. That's our whole thing.
Yeah, so it was really interesting and tough at times to play through The Last of Us for the first time in our current time right here because it's relatable way more than it was in 2013. So yeah, I started playing the second one. I got a good bit into it. Clickers are way more scarier in this game, right? Like, is that just me?
They're easier to kill, though, thankfully.
I mean,
Switchblade.
Well, yeah, because you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to have like a bottle in your hand anymore.
So yeah, you don't have to have a bottle or the shiv or whatever. But I don't know. I feel like it's harder to walk up to them. I don't know. Maybe it's just me because I'm just like I want to fucking kill him, so I go up behind him and then they turn around. So
I think the biggest missed opportunity with The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2 was to not like Joel should have been like a Twitch streamer in 2013, and that way he could have told Ellie stories like right before the pandemic hit, I almost hit 50,000 subs on YouTube.
Oh my god!
If you should have, no, I think it would have been
tell you about Mixer.
Meaningful.
Let me tell you.
By the way, Mixer went down today. Yep. F's in the chat for Mixer.
Man. Throw out some Derek emotes for Mixer in the chat.
The Derek emotes have been there all night.
Yeah, throw out the Derek emotes. Brittney, got anything else?
Other than that, I've just been playing Overwatch. It's been easy to hop in and out of when I don't have the mental capacity to deal with games like The Last of Us. So, just that, Last of Us and Overwatch, and at some point I will go back to Final Fantasy VI.
Final Fantasy VI should take precedence over everything. Finn, what do you got?
So 2 games have taken up the brunt of my time this week, and the first one is Ghost of Tsushima. I won't delve too far into it because I think Justin gave a very good breakdown of it. It is a great game. I think it's a fun way to send off the generation and the PlayStation 4 as a whole. I think it's really cool that Sucker Punch got to basically bookend this entire gen. Because it might not have been a launch title, but Second Son was essentially the first big game of the PS4.
It was fine.
We do not. I love Second Son, but the one thing I really wanted to give props to Sucker Punch is their growth as a studio. Because you have to think back in Second Son, the flack they got for casting all their Native American characters with white dudes.
Yeah, that was
fucked. Now Ghost of Tsushima is just a full-on like high quality Asian voice cast, and it's just really cool to see that kind of like growth over a generation, because they could have easily gotten a bunch of white people again, but they didn't.
Troy Baker is Jin.
Troy Baker is Jin.
And Finn, they have an entire English and Japanese audio track, right? Is it the same actors doing both tracks, or are they different?
That I don't know.
No,
okay.
It is different actors, but like it's also really cool when you hit the credits. You know how usually the other language voice actors are just like down farther. English and Japanese are side by side.
Cool.
When you hit the credits,
that's cool.
Which is really neat.
And then the other thing I've been playing like hardcore is, as John mentioned, one of the greatest games of this year is Crosscode.
Yeah.
I am not as far as John. I DM'd him to let him know where I was, and he never responded because he's a jerk face. But I just hit a really cool part. And it was amazing. Like the game swerves you, and the story takes this huge twist in really cool ways, and just the game itself is so good, and I can't stop playing it. Like I've stayed up way too late the last 2 weeks just staying up playing. I think I hit 45 hours now on it. So, and Saki's playing Paper Mario Origami King, and she's loving the hell out of that. So that is what our week has
Such a
been
good
looking.
game.
Yeah, so it's been a good. We're eating well in the gaming sphere over at Finn household.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, we're gonna get to gaming fair in just a second. Jeff, what have you been playing?
Nothing important or anyone cares
I
about.
thought you were just gonna say nothing.
A little bit of that. No, kind of just like bouncing around. I was playing Death Stranding, started that, finally got it on PC. I talked about that last week. And then right after I talked about it, the mission I was doing, it started just crashing every 5 minutes. So shout out to PC Gaming. So I'm taking a break for that for a bit.
Rar knows all about that.
Yeah. I finally got back into Final Fantasy 14. I haven't touched it much since I I play games for story. I knew I was never going to be like an MMO guy doing the dailies and stuff like that. But trying to get ready for patch 5.3. I never played patch 5.2 because I didn't want I don't
when
like.
When does that launch?
What's that?
When does that launch?
5.2. Fuck, maybe John. It was a while. It was like
January
February?
Or January.
No.
February, yeah.
The next one is in August, huh?
Yeah. So,
yeah, August 11th. Actually, I can't wait.
So I'm trying to play those two patches back to back. So I've been saving 5.2 so I can get like a really nice meaty story content in there. So I just jumped back. I was just doing some dungeons to kind of get a feel because like I have such a bad memory for things. Even my muscle memory didn't kick back in. I had no idea what my rotations were and stuff. And then I started doing the Hildebrand quests, which are just like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah,
they're fun if you do them like as they release, but if you get behind and you do them all in succession, it is fucking awful.
I'm starting from scratch, so I'm gonna pace myself.
It takes a long time. That's a long quest
and it
line.
loses its cuteness after like I don't know. I'd say about halfway in.
Although Jeff and Brittney, especially, I will say I will neither confirm nor deny that I walked in the middle of a grocery store and executed a most gentlemanly pose.
I don't doubt that
over
you did that.
What? I want to know what made you bust out into a gentlemanly pose.
Why not?
No, what like did you see like peanut butter and you were just like yes?
No, I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna bust out a flawless, most gentlemanly pose.
I guess you don't need a reason to Hildebrand.
Not at all. You never need a reason to do a most gentlemanly pose. Anybody who doesn't play Final Fantasy 14 has no fucking idea what I'm talking about.
Most people, even then, some would do. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else. Yeah, basically waiting for more video games to come out.
I'll tell you what. I had beer go down the wrong pipe about like 5 minutes ago, and my throat has been on fire ever since. So if I'm raspy and coffee, I apologize. I'm in a lot of pain right now. So,
thank you for sharing.
Two big events this week. Well, one of them big in the sense that we need to talk about what the implications are, and one of them was actually big. And we'll start with the first.
By the
one.
way, John, between the two, I have a little thing I just want to mention that kind of bridges the gap between the two because it kind of relates to both. Okay. So between the two, I'll do that transition if you don't mind.
Just to double check,
no
we're gonna lead with Xbox, right? Because I feel like that's gonna take a long ass time.
Let's knock out Nintendo.
I was gonna knock out Nintendo because that's not gonna take as long. I don't think.
Okay, all right.
Any opinions on Nintendo because I didn't even watch it. I was at work.
You didn't miss a whole lot.
I'm gonna go get another beer while you talk about Nintendo.
Go grab a beer. So we got a Nintendo. So here's the thing, right? Like I knew there was a Nintendo Direct coming. What I did not know was that it was going to be an 8-minute, an 8-minute partner showcase, full of mostly games we already knew about and games I don't really care about, like Arcade Rustling and a few other, like Cadence of Hyrule, a game that's been out for like a year and a half now. And we got some Shin Megami Tensei 5 news, and they revealed a remake of Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, which is great. That's great. But here's the problem. Paper Mario, now that Paper Mario's out, there are no more scheduled first-party games on Nintendo's slate for the rest of the year. And that's not to say that I don't think there are any. I mean, obviously they have to release something. And there's a lot of smoke around the idea of a 3D Mario collection, which, it's real. but I feel like Nintendo is running out of time to reassure not just consumers but shareholders, because their shareholders meeting is on August 6th. And I feel like they've got to announce something. Even like Pikmin 3 Deluxe, I'll go ahead and drop it here. Pikmin 3 Deluxe is releasing on Switch in August. And it is now July 23rd and they still have not announced it.
Hey John, is there another series of games that's done and they're thinking about releasing?
Yeah, there is. There's plenty of them, Jeff, but we're not going to get into that right now because I don't take bait.
Have you ever confidently said that there was something that was coming out or going to be shown imminently at a Nintendo show?
I have. I did know. No, you're absolutely right, Justin. I have.
I don't think anybody's predictions came true that Nintendo Direct.
So here's the thing about that.
John's didn't even make it past the announcement. Hold on.
Hey, you know what? I got Shin Megami Tensei 5.
No. Okay. But the rest of John had a big prediction tweet with a whole lot of predictions.
Oh, that's right, he did. All right, well.
Never do prediction tweets. It comes back to bite you in the ass.
Even survive the tweet that announced the Direct, because he had multiple first party things in there and like, this is a very short third party showcase.
John
and I think that's a new record.
John predicted all the remastered 3D Mario games, 3D World Deluxe, Pikmin 3 Deluxe, a Bravely Default 2 release date and new demo, something Metroid or Zelda related, The World Ends With You 2, the Live and Live localization, and Super Mario RPG coming to Switch. Although he was correct in predicting that Breath of the Wild 2 would not appear on the
okay.
So
a bold prediction, to be sure.
My predictions were pretty much in line with everybody else's predictions. Nobody could have foreseen that this was just going to be like a little 8-minute like nothing. And
John, like everyone's predictions is just every Nintendo game possible. Like,
I mean, so here's the thing, right? Like, like,
to his credit, he did
shut the fuck up. I'm talking.
Metroid Prime trilogy would be there. To his credit,
Finn, I'm talking. Do not interrupt.
We're going offline soon.
So
I thought Nintendo was supposed to be short.
Yeah.
So no, well, I mean, but there's a deeper discussion to be had here, right? Because why haven't they announced everything? Like, we're getting big dumps on the next generation of games from Sony and Microsoft, and just for this, as far as we know, even though as far as Nintendo has told us, after Paper Mario, there's nothing for the rest of the year, from a first party perspective, and I don't understand why Nintendo's doing this.
DLC.
Yeah, but that's not like, but I mean that's an expansion to something that already exists. Like that's, and that's coming out like what, in October? Yeah, like they need something for September. They need something for October. They need something for November.
They might.
And I am starting to think, like, for example, that Bravely Default 2 slips into 2021. Like, if we haven't heard about it now, or if we still don't have a release date for that, like, I'm starting to think that has slipped. So I wanted to see what you guys thought about what might be happening with Nintendo. We'll go to Finn and then Jeff.
The simple prediction for me is just that they got this out of the way, and as their shareholder meeting comes closer, we have a traditional big meaty, here's the second half of 2020 Direct coming, because it's Nintendo and that's what they do. They'll do a Direct and it'll showcase the rest of the games for that season. Just for whatever reason, it's taken a lot longer this time. I think right now people are panicking, and that mini Direct did not help anything in that regard.
Well, it's Finn, no, I mean, I know we will, but like, here's the thing, like coming off of that really ridiculous Bakugan reveal, like, I mean,
like they've just had some weird PR moves. Like, it's a weird way to present your games. It's I think someone put it perfectly. Like, all the game announcements from that mini should have been folded into an actual Direct.
Jeff, I know that you had your hand. We'll go to Jeff and then Brittney. I saw Brittney had her hand up.
No, I was just swatting away dog hair.
Oh, well, whatever. You had your hand up, so you're going next.
Okay.
You know, I was gonna say, like, I mean, whatever. I'm fine with roasting Nintendo for the dumb decisions they make, but I kind of with Finn, like, I think people need to be a little patient. I'm sure they do have something for the second half of this year, and I think they should have shown it sooner. That's what I would do if I was in charge of marketing. But it's like not the end of the world yet. But I think there's two things. Obviously, the pandemic and the shift to work from home. I think we've heard from people
Sure.
that it's impacted a lot of Japanese studios. It seems harder that I don't want to say like broadly, but there's been some specific studios overseas that have had trouble, and it's been rumored that Nintendo is one of them. And that's fair and that's valid, and there's no reason for anyone to be angry about that. And I think that plays into this is like Nintendo doesn't like to delay games. They don't seem to. It's pretty rare from them. And I think they really want to have a better idea of when these games are going to be ready before they push out a direct with some dates and some months and things like that. And like, here's what's coming, because probably a lot of it's on the bubble and they're not sure if it's going to make it in time for holiday. But the other thing is like we've joked about before, but apparently they have 3 Mario games that are done and they're sitting on. Apparently they have some sort of trilogy of a popular game series that's been done for a long time and they're sitting on. Apparently they still have 1 or 2 more Wii U remasters that are done and they're sitting on. If you're sitting on these like for some reason or a rainy day, it seems like this year is that
This is
that
the time
rainy
to
day,
do it. You know,
right? Like, because
and-
yeah, your active development is impacted, but if these things are actually done, just print them and ship them and put something out, like, and they're gonna sell like crazy, right? I don't know. So
here's the thing, Jeff. Like our friend, and then we'll go to Brittney because I want to get Brittney's opinion on this, and we'll go to Justin because he's got his hand up. But our friend of the show, Direct Feed Games, Nate Drake. Everybody knows him as Nate Drake on Era. He's a legit, like, he legit knows stuff about the inner workings of the industry, and he's told me, you know, like, he said if you knew how many games Nintendo is actually sitting on right now, like, you'd be stunned. Like like they have shit they could release right now and they just don't. It's just sitting there. And Jeff, I completely agree with you. Like there are, and you're right? Like I'm sure the Mario, I mean, it's the 35th anniversary of Super Mario. I am sure the Mario remaster games are real. Metroid Prime Trilogy is real. Pikmin Deluxe 3 is real. There's another Wii U port. I don't know what it is, but there's another Wii U port that's primed and ready to go. Just this is it, you know, like do something to bridge the gap between now and Breath of the Wild 2, which is not coming this year. And you know, it's just do something to restore consumer confidence. Like I don't think anybody needs to be like fucking pissed off or anything, but I do get the frustration because it has now been almost a year since we've had a full actual general Nintendo Direct. The last one was in September of last year. We've never gone this long without an actual general Direct.
Well, and the double threat is with next gen happening, that baseline for games is moving up. We already see a lot of third-party stuff struggle to make it work on Switch. That's going to all die off when we move into next gen.
Right.
So like it's more important than ever for that first-party output, I think, to match that.
Brittney, do you have any opinions on this? Because
I think Nintendo has to worry about dates and releasing content and deadlines because they don't have to. It's Nintendo. Like they could not release a game for a year and they'd still fucking do amazing. And look how well they did with Animal Crossing. Like they're in no fucking rush to release anything. Like, so I think it's fair that gamers want new content, new things to look forward to. But like Nintendo's always been about Nintendo, not necessarily the fans. So I think they're gonna do what works best for them and what's going to ultimately put them through this, you know, the pandemic, COVID, and everything like that. I think they have time, so why not?
As long as they're still selling Switches, I guess they don't really care, right?
Exactly. I mean, you can't find a Switch fucking anywhere. So why would they release a new console? I mean, a new game if you can't even fucking get a hold of a console?
Yeah, I mean, and you know, like it's entirely. I mean, you could release a Switch bundle with something that sells eternally, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and put it at a sweet ass price this holiday, and people will buy the fucking shit out of it because everybody buys Mario Kart. And that's, and you know, guys, Brittney makes a solid point. Like, you know, Switches are flying off the fucking shelves. They can't keep them in stock. Games like Ring Fit, you can't even fucking find because they're selling out. Mario Kart 8 is what, like 12, 15 million copies. Like, I mean, it's Animal Crossing is up there. Like, I mean, they could just coast on Animal Crossing. I mean, they don't have to release a game, Well, I'll push back on that a little bit. They have
They
to release
should,
something.
but they don't have to.
They should release something, right? And they will. Like we're not sitting here saying that they're not going to have any first party games this fall, because they clearly will.
Right.
I think now is, I don't get the wait. Like I think now is the time, like Jeff said, to at least tell us what's coming so people can make plans, because a lot of people are going to be crunching for money this holiday due to the pandemic, due to the job situation. And people are already starting to plan out their purchases. Justin.
So, kind of building off of what you were saying, I do think that, well, one, Jeff, I think, nailed it with a lot of newer games were probably significantly impacted in terms of scheduling and development. But, like, you know, rumors about, like, these Mario remasters and stuff. I think Nintendo might be saving it for, like, a shorter, you know, announcement to release kind of thing. And also just, like, right now, we're having huge showings from PlayStation and Microsoft pretty regularly. They're both releasing new consoles this fall. A lot of new games for both. Like, they're gonna suck a lot of the air out of the room. Not that I think Nintendo won't be able to sell things in the time period they will,
Right.
but like I think it might just be a good time to be like, hey, look, you know, we're having some issues behind the scenes due to pandemic stuff. Our two main competitors are going to be sucking all of the air out of the room when it comes to PR. Let's not waste a bunch of money to try to do like substantial marketing right now. Like I mean, I could see that being a valid strategy. I know it won't make fans happy and stuff, but like, I mean, I
Nintendo
think
can
it's
sell
the lack
no
of
matter what they do. They don't have to. They could say, "Hey, tomorrow we're releasing a new Mario game," and it would still sell no matter
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
I just think it's just Nintendo's general
Right.
lack of transparency that I think gets to people.
what. Exactly, it's frustrating.
And it's, you know, what's most egregious about it is right there. If you go right now to Nintendo's Twitter profile, right there in their profile, it says, "We're listening to," and I'm like, are you though? Because people are begging you for something. Just show us something, and you're not. And you're like, and I agree. Like Nintendo, you know, it's been said before, and I'll say it again. Nintendo is not in competition with Sony, Microsoft. They're
No.
not. They're doing
Didn't
their
they
own thing.
publicly announce that they were just like,
Yeah,
we're not doing this anymore?
They're doing their own thing. And for a lot of people, the Switch is their secondary console. For me, like I'm one of the people who like I'm a Nintendo guy first and foremost, so it's my primary console.
Right.
But for a lot of people, this Nintendo, Nintendo is something that is supplemental to the the PlayStation or the Xbox. And I feel like with the launch of new consoles this fall, I'm afraid that Nintendo might get lost in the shuffle. I don't know. But you know, like as far like we've talked enough. We talked at length about Nintendo and what happened for them on Monday. There was another conference that happened, and that was the Xbox conference today. The Xbox
quickly
Game Showcase.
before that, just to
you had your
just
thing
to
that you wanted to
transition.
bridge. Right,
Yes.
right. Go ahead.
So this was announced at the pre-show for Xbox today, but Dragon Quest XI S is which was the Switch version that had a lot of added content as well as an orchestral score, is coming to Xbox on Game Pass and is also coming to PS4 and PC. Here's the weird part. So it's coming, with the orchestral soundtrack and the extra content, but the visuals are significantly downgraded because it's a port of the Switch version. I just wanted to mention it just because this is such a Square Enix move. Like, the whole rollout of this game, the extra content, like, is just so weird.
And especially since if like you have to pay full price for it, right?
It's $40, not $60, but it's still not like a cheap release. Good. It's still not a cheap release.
So Xbox, big Xbox Game Showcase today, which we streamed earlier, and we kind of held our thoughts because we wanted to talk about it here. We'll start with Halo. Halo Infinite. I think they didn't make it entirely clear during the presentation, but they clarified afterward that this is an open world game and this is the last actual Halo game for a while. Like this is going to be something that they update with new content over time, which is a very interesting direction to take it. So I wanted to get everybody's thoughts about what we saw in regards to gameplay and possible story, and also the the villain, which is an orc from Shadow of Mordor, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Because
Yoda on steroids.
I'm waiting for that guy to pop up on a hill and be like, "Oi, I know your face, Ranger." like I'm waiting for it. Jeff, what did you think about this, man? What jumped out at you?
So I want to preface this with saying I really don't like criticizing games, especially at the reveal. I have so much respect for the people that have worked so hard on this for so many years, and I always try to give everything the benefit of the doubt. But I'll really quickly run through my thoughts on it. I'm not like a Halo super fan. I played the original Halo on the original Xbox when it came out. I loved it as much as everyone else. By the time Halo 2 came out, I'd sold my Xbox, and I played Halo 4 on my 360, and then I went back to Halo 2 on the MCC a couple of years ago, and I absolutely love Halo 2. I feel like Halo 1's aged quite a bit now. I just replayed it again this week. It's got some good levels, but overall it's a bit of a rough package. But I really like Halo. I like the aesthetic. I love, like, I've never been gripped by the story or like Master Chief. He's just kind of like a cool looking guy. I don't get quite some of the fandom around that character. He's just very dry, but like he looks badass and he does cool things. So what I've always wanted is, I've dipped in and out of Halo over the years, and I've been waiting for that Halo to really like be like, this is the one. This is where I get all in on this series. And I was hoping that that's what this would be. And I was honestly astonished by how, I don't want to say the game looks bad. I want to say this was a bad demo or a bad reveal, because all I saw from this was, they're obviously appealing to nostalgia. It looks a lot like the original Halo. They clearly went in on that. But what do we see? We see someone driving the Warthog. We see them using mostly the same weapons. We see them throwing a grenade. Everything just looked like everything I've already seen and done before. And the open world aspect of it, which could have been really fresh and exciting, they opened up a map and I just saw a couple of really vague, nondescript objectives or checkpoints, and they went to like an outpost and cleared it out. There was no sense of urgency. I didn't get like nothing to really like be like, holy shit, I'm in on this game. And I don't, at this point, when I watch this demo, a game needs a reason to exist. So either it exists to tell a new exciting story, or it exists because you have more to do with the gameplay. There's somewhere further to take it. And the whole time I watch this demo, I don't understand why this game exists aside from giving us a new Halo game. So that's all I got to say right now. I hope it's great. I have no problem with the visuals. I guess some people were complaining about the graphics. It looks fine. It's an open world 60 FPS game running on a piece of hardware from 2013. It looks as good as it can. But that's my thoughts. Sorry for ranting.
No, it's not a rant at all.
Don't worry. I've got some rants prep. You good, fam?
I was just dispensing justice in chat. That's all. So no, like my immediate thoughts on Halo Infinite are that, there was a lot being said about, I'm sure you guys saw those screen caps that were released that didn't exactly portray the game in the best light. As far as the visuals go, there were some muddy textures, and I noticed some weird texture pop in during the trailer itself. That being said, this game is still in the oven, and it's meant to run not just on Xbox Series X, but also on current gen consoles as well. So yeah, it's not going to look exactly like a next gen title. But visuals aren't everything. Like, it looks fine. The lighting effects look great. I am more concerned, like Halo narratives, like the quality of Halo campaign narratives vary from great to, and I'm not like, Halo 5 is a great example, right? Like Halo 2 had a great story. Halo 3 had a great story. Halo 4 was less well received. Well, at least it was very divisive. And yes, Finn's giving the thumbs down. And Halo 5 was. So I do wonder. I think Halo Infinite will have some really high highs and potentially some really low lows. I'm still not convinced that this is the right kind of franchise to build into a game as a service. I hope I'm wrong. I do. Brittney, what did you think?
I think that 343, I hope for them it works out because they haven't released quite the same quality as Bungie did. And of course, it's Bungie's baby. But I mean, like, you look at Halo Wars, Halo 4, Halo 5, and they're not memorable. And that's my biggest thing. But the thing that my biggest takeaway from watching it, because I watched it, I wasn't able to watch it live, but I watched it when I got home from work, is that I am just as thirsty for Master Chief now as I was whenever Halo 1 came out. I love me some Master Chief. My Chocobo in Final Fantasy XIV is called Chief. I just love Master Chief. That being said, so look, in tradition of SDGC, I made notes on a napkin, Finn,
Yes.
just for you.
Yeah, it's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
I love
So
it. That's great. That's good shit.
I love the fact that it's open world. Not sure what you can do. Oh, look, we're the same. So I'm not sure. So it's open world. Cool. What does that mean? What are you gonna do in an open world Halo game? Right? Like, are you just gonna walk in on like camps of grunts? Not really sure what that means. What else did I write down? The graphics are I think something could have been more. The thing I kept saying.
I'm sorry, the long pauses kind of say it all.
It's not great, but it's not bad. So it's very, like Jeff said, it's very reminiscent to Halo 1. But I just wish there was like it's like so close. If they would have put like a polishing layer on it, it could have brought it all together. I'm talking out my ass. I don't know how all this shit works. Like, I don't know how, but it just felt like it was like this close to being.
And it might get a glow up before the fall.
Right, and
I'm sure it will. I mean, it's still in the fucking oven. Like, I'm sure it's gonna be fine. I really wouldn't worry too much about it.
Go ahead, Justin.
So I actually like this demo more than all of you seem to.
I liked it. I'm left with more questions than I wanted.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I kind of agree in the sense of this was a much smaller scale demo than I thought they were going to have.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's from very early in the game.
It's like they pumped it up and they were like, "Oh, this big reveal," and we saw it, and it was like, you could have worked on that.
And the thing is, I do like seeing gameplay demos that are here's just meat and potato gameplay, which like this is just kind of what the average encounter is going to be like, but like it for being, especially with how they've talked about it in the past week and stuff, I thought it was going to be a bit bigger, and I think that's kind of backfiring on them a little bit.
The one I think that redeems it is the fucking grappling hook. That looks cool. I want to grapple fucking everything.
When Chief grappled a pylon and then just chucked it at a turret, I loved that. I love grappling hooks, especially in first-person
grappling
shooters.
hooks make everything better.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't envy the position 343 is in with this game. Because like every single bit of it is going to be under the microscope. And it's been pretty clear today because like visually when I think you look at, some of the smaller details, it doesn't look great, but like as a whole, especially when you see it running at the full 4K 60 and stuff, I think it looks good. It doesn't look amazing.
I don't know.
But
Even
it's like,
watching it, I was like, this is like Halo 1, but not in a good way. Like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look like what I expect out of next gen.
Like,
again, and that's kind of the danger of, Microsoft's cross-gen approach. Right. And I think it's also been led to some, well, you might talk about this later in the day, but it's led to some confusing messaging with some games saying they supported Xbox One before or after the conference, and it's not been clear which games are cross-gen and which aren't. I think it's a danger of this approach, and I don't know what the right answer is, but I think Microsoft feels that they need to, especially for people that maybe don't have bought an Xbox One this generation, and maybe don't have the confidence in like their first party output going into next gen. I think they feel like I think Microsoft feels like this game needs to come out to everybody. But I mean, it's everything, right? It's their third mainline Halo release from 343.
Right.
And the first two have had, mixed responses. And the Master Chief Collection took a long time to get fixed.
Years.
Yeah.
It took years.
This is Xbox's big holiday game in what's going to be a big holiday all around. It's the headlining game for Series X. It's the headlining game for Game Pass. It's got to be a whole lot of things. And I don't know. Like I think it looks good. I played the Bungie Halos a lot. But yeah, sorry, go ahead. I'm just kind of rambling.
No, you're fine. I want to kick it over to Finn.
I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in before we moved on to the next game because there is a lot to cover. My thoughts on Halo is it looked fine. I think it failed in the sense that, like other people have pointed out, Microsoft hyped this entire event as the premier showcase to prove to you why their stance on first party exclusives, why everything's going to turn around, why you need to start playing your games on Xbox, and Halo is their bread and butter. It's the first time a Halo has been a launch game since Halo 1. And I mean, it's a big deal. And then it just, the fact that it left me going like, okay, it was all right, isn't probably the takeaway they were hoping to have.
Right.
And then you factor in the fact that I get that they're moving into the whole, it's a service and Xbox as an ecosystem, but I really personally believe making this part of the original Xbox One has really hampered it. And it just makes you think, what could this game have looked like if it had been built from the ground up for the Series X? And it's just weird that they would let Halo not be the game to truly show you what their new system that's supposed to be more powerful than the PS5 can do. It just feels weird to me. But I don't make the big decisions, and you know what? They've been really knocking it out of the park business decision wise. So you got to trust their thought pattern. But what I saw today did not wow me, and for a flagship launch title in their biggest franchise, and one that had a lot to prove, it was a game.
It makes me wonder if they specifically didn't have the best graphics, so eventually you could play it on cloud and play it on your phone.
So
I don't think so. I mean, there is a ray tracing update coming after launch,
right,
and I will be very interested to see what that game looks like after that update.
But that's the other weird thing, like ray tracing.
That's also, I mean, it's also really weird.
Ray tracing is one of the huge features, especially Xbox is pushing this. This is what's awesome about X, and their flagship title does not have one of the main features at launch. It is weird. But I think in terms of visuals, it'll be interesting to see the before and after for that update, and how they achieve it. But yes, that is a weird thing. But Finn also mentioned one thing that stood out to me with this show, and Again, I thought it was a good collection of games, but I wanted to see more gameplay trailers. We got a pretty good look at Halo, but they had been saying ever since their May event, we heard you. You guys want to see gameplay. And, I mean, there was still a ton of CG trailers and a lot of in-engine stuff. A lot of the other...
Right.
A lot of the other games that showed gameplay were smaller,
They weren't Microsoft
simpler titles.
And that's kind of the point that I was going to make. It's like, what the Halo Infinite showcase had that not a lot of other games in the showcase had was actual gameplay. There was and a lot of these games, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but I got the the direct sense that a lot of these games like Forza and Fable and
Fable.
are not actually going to be coming or playable on the Xbox One, because some games said Xbox One and Xbox Series X. Some of these games like Forza and Fable just said Xbox Series X, which is interesting. One that tells me these games are not coming for a long time. Like we won't see Forza this year. That's next year. Fable is fucking 3 years out. At minimum, I guarantee it. And I was surprised and disappointed. I see a fan. I was surprised and disappointed at just how little gameplay we got. Like the medium looks cool. I just saw that the medium looked cool. We didn't really see a whole lot of gameplay for that. It was mostly just, sizzle reel stuff, and we have no idea when it's coming out. That's another game that said Xbox Series X and not Xbox One. And so, while I don't exactly think that's a cause for concern, I do think it kind of flies in the face of their message earlier, like you said, Justin, which was, we hear you, you want to see more gameplay, the gameplay's coming. Well, is it though? Where is it? Finn, go ahead.
So the thing that blows my mind is so not only did we only there were games with gameplay, but they weren't Microsoft games. So I'm not counting them in this, because this was, again, Microsoft's chance to, and they touted it over and over again to show the power of their first party. This is why they've been buying up studios. But so not only did Forza, State of Decay 3, Fable, oh god, I'm forgetting one.
Everwild looked awesome.
Yeah, it did. But I'm talking about the ones that were just, and Fable were just CG trailers. And then not only that, but they started the show off. I watched it again to show Saki some trailers, and they say these are games from 9 of our 15 studios, which means the other 6 didn't even have enough to show a CG trailer. Like, how far out are we from having anything not called Halo to play on this game? And it feels weird to me that we were told over and over again that this showcase was to prove that their first party output had changed, and I just don't see it.
Can we also bring up the fact that all we saw from Hellblade 2 was a fucking ad for a documentary
quick,
on fucking Iceland? Like, go
John,
ahead.
Real quick. So Saki, one of Saki's favorite games she's ever played or watched me play has been Hellblade. And her eyes lit up when she saw Hellblade 2 pop up, and then she let out an audible, "Oh, fuck you," when she realized that they brought Hellblade out for just a big middle finger to anyone that wanted to see more. I really expected Hellblade to have more, because that was one of the games that got shown at the Game Awards. So we're now 7 months after the fact, and you couldn't give us anything new. It was just really.
It was literally. It was a travel ad. Like, we went to Iceland and check this out. It's like okay.
I was shocked that that's what they showed. I thought it was going to lead into something else. Like, to the point where I wonder why it was included.
Iceland is great. I have no problem with Iceland, and ironically, Iceland is very green. It's Greenland that is very icy. Take that, your mind. But I just don't get it. I don't. That was the most Nintendo moment of the entire Xbox game showcase.
No, not even that. You know what it was, John? Sorry, I hate.
No, go ahead. No. You love to interrupt me.
Do you remember that EA E3 where they announced Star Wars Battlefront 2, and it was just, look at this concept art Lucasfilm made?
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
That's what it was.
I do. I do remember that. Like they're, it's not that it was a bad conference, but at the same time, I don't think it was what Xbox needed right now. I think they would have been better. Like, Brittney, I know that you were super excited about the Fable reveal, right?
Yeah.
But how do you feel knowing that game is probably 4 years out?
So this is my take on any video game that's taking its time coming out. I don't care how long it takes, as long as it's a good game. However, that being said, that was a very underwhelming reveal trailer, like a fairy getting eaten. Like, okay, like that's funny, and you have the same announcer voiceover guy from the previous Fable games. But it's cool. It's an announcement trailer, cool. But like I wanted to see a little bit more, and it was just disappointing.
Especially since like this is no fault of their own, but everyone knew it was Fable. Like everyone knew they were working on Fable, and
Right.
they must know
And that's
that.
your trailer?
They
Like,
must know that. So it's one thing if this game's a huge secret and you just drop that mic with Fable, but the fact that everyone already knows your game exists, you would think that you'd come up with something a little bit extra. And yeah.
It was very Finn. Were you the one who said it was very reminiscent of Elder Scrolls 6? That reveal.
It was the
Yes.
Elder Scrolls 6 reveal.
Absolutely.
It was a big game that we all knew was coming and was touted as the big and one more thing.
And it even played the
then
Skyrim theme.
And then it was a 10-second CG trailer with throwing up the title on the screen. And I get it. If you're a fan of Fable, that is enough to let you know, cool. But again, as a showcase of why the Xbox One X is a good system and a powerful system, you need more. Give us something that's at least in engine or anything to showcase something. But it was a nothing. You could have just tweeted out, hey, Fable's coming.
It was just like, get off our back. Like, here's the reveal. It's coming.
But I have one
substantial.
part that I just want to mention, and then I will cede the floor for the rest of the show. But I am so salty about this. The most disappointing part of this entire conference.
Here we go.
And it's not even really the fault of the conference. But first of all, fuck them all over the place for this. You can't say, here's Moon Studio, and have me go, oh shit, we get a new Ori.
I
Ori.
knew this was coming.
Because first of all, some backstory. Ori is my absolute favorite Xbox franchise across all generations. Fable, Gears of War, Halo, they're cool. Ori has become my favorite Xbox franchise. So I was so excited. I would have been happy with just an Ori 3 like title. That would have been enough. But no, they come out of the big Xbox showcase to let us know, hey, Ori 2 is going to be playable next gen. Yeah, no shit. You said all your games are going to be playable. Oh, it's an update. Frame rate. Oh, so mad. That was the second time Saki looked at the screen and got mad. So
Finn, are you going to be okay?
No, I'm not. I was so hurt.
John, I got one thing to add before we go
ahead.
on to
No,
the rest,
please.
I don't have much of an opinion on the rest of the games. I thought most of the show, nothing looked bad, but I had almost no reaction to most of what they showed just because I didn't see enough. But because I know this keeps coming up in the conversation, and I even addressed it and criticized a bit for this, but so I might contradict myself. But we keep talking about like this game wasn't a good showcase for the Series X, and this, we want to see the power of next gen, and I understand that Microsoft has really been pushing the Series X, but I think what we need to realize and what they haven't really communicated is this isn't really an Xbox Series X showcase. This is a Game Pass showcase.
Right.
And that's everything they do from now on, no matter what they say. Yes. It's to get you to buy their games and subscribe to Game Pass. They honestly don't care that much if you buy a Series X.
Like Destiny. Destiny is a perfect example of that.
Yep.
And I gotta tell you, like more power to them, because end of the day, as disappointed as I was in this overall showcase, Game Pass is far and away the greatest thing that has ever come to gaming.
It's the best bang for your buck in the industry. Like,
and it is
exactly.
It
yeah.
is the single best reason to buy an Xbox, because again, every game shown will be on Game Pass. And that's what matters. Yep. So it doesn't matter because you no longer have to drop $60, $70 to try out a game. It's on Game Pass. And that is alone worth me getting the system.
Honestly, like Xbox has done more for games conservation than Sony and Nintendo combined.
Yeah.
By far. And I wish Sony and Nintendo would take some fucking cues from Xbox in that regard.
I don't understand how they don't.
I don't.
Gold was a straight copycat of PlayStation Plus. Why not use PlayStation Now and transform it into your own Game Pass?
And I'm saying this is like as like a huge Nintendo stand. Like, Nintendo Online fucking sucks. It just sucks. Like, it's just not good. And but
can it suck if it barely exists?
I mean, it exists. Like, yeah, like it sucks that bad. Like, it barely exists and it's still shit. As far as the rest of the Xbox conference goes, yeah, we didn't get any price reveals or release dates. However, having said that, I think they said what Halo releases. Do we have a release date or a release week for Halo?
It's
The launch
It's
title.
it's simultaneous with the Xbox.
I think it's
Series
just
X.
November. There's no
Just
week
November?
given. But
Okay.
They didn't even say November. They just said holiday 2020.
I'm betting
so
it's like the second week
most
of
people have been
November.
connecting
Sounds
the
right.
dots because there's about 4 or 5 big games that are all releasing. I think it's like the week of the 13th to 17th or something like that.
It's yeah, the 13th and 17th. There's a whole lot of games that are releasing that have like Xbox marketing deals and stuff
It's real
that seem
suspicious. That Assassin's
it's-
Creed Valhalla, Cyberpunk 2077,
Assassin's Cyberpunk,
Yakuza, like a Dragon,
Yakuza 7.
all of them
Or,
have
yeah,
on the same day.
yeah, it's there's a lot of fire from the retailer listings for those, but nothing has been officially confirmed.
So yeah, like
So what's the other? We should pick like one more big game from this that we want to talk about. I don't know if anyone has suggestions.
Well, I actually wanted to mention one more thing about Fable. Actually, I and kind of gauge everybody's reaction on, and I want to kick it to Brittney first because I know she's excited about it. I there are a lot of rumors circulating around, and I personally have been told by people I trust that this is an MMO of some kind.
I hope not.
I don't know exactly what that looks like.
Like, are we talking MMO like Destiny or like World of Warcraft?
Don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm willing to bet it's not like a World of Warcraft type deal. But maybe like maps that are instanced for like 16 to 32 players at a time. With like, one hub or like, central hubs that, cities that act as I don't know, but I have heard that it is an MMO. And I think it's a good thing. Like if that holds true, I think it's a good thing, especially like it could be something like Sea of Thieves, which has, heavy MMO elements to it. But Brittney, you don't look like you're too sold on this.
Because it's the same reason why I haven't started PSO 2. I can only play so many MMOs at once before I start feeling overwhelmed. It's why I never got into Destiny, because Final Fantasy 14 is my MMO, obviously. So I mean, I could see it being like a Destiny type MMO where you grind to get gear and stuff, but like that's not what Fable games are about. Like you get married in Fable, you can have kids. Like,
I mean, to be fair, you can get married in Final Fantasy 14.
But that's like different. Like you can get married to NPCs in Fable, or at least you can get STDs in Fable. How are you gonna get that online?
Well,
so before we go too far with the MMO talk, I just want to mention that we do have our friend Sam in chat, who's very in touch with the Xbox industry and quite often has some information. He says it's
his
MMO.
job.
Yeah, it's an MMO if you consider being able to summon your friend an MMO. So there will be some level of multiplayer interactivity, but it sounds like it's not really.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a regular Fable game. I think I'm willing to bet roots.
I'm willing to bet the online elements are probably a little bit more than that. But again, like I don't think that it's a fucking World of Warcraft or anything. I'm not saying that at all. Justin, go ahead.
So, just the one thing, a pushback, they had a big multiplayer focused Fable game in development. They canceled that game and closed the studio. Like, I don't know. I'm not holding up the MMO rumors too much because, look, I'm going to wait till they give us their pitch for it because sometimes, like, hey, there's going to be online elements can get blown out, like,
or they're planned and then they change their mind, right?
Yeah, and then they change. So, like, I'm not even gonna really speculate on it because we don't know how it's going to manifest in game.
So aside from things that I have heard, here are the things that kind of make me wonder about its MMO status. Is one, it's not called Fable 4. It's just called Fable.
But that's common
Well, I mean,
because
it's a
they want
reboot.
games to seem
Yeah.
accessible and not
But-
like, oh, I have to play the first 3.
But you know, on the other hand, you know, I mean, when did Fable 3 come out? It was like 2012, right? Like
This was a
2011.
long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
I think it was
Um,
2011.
Was it 2011? Games as a service were not anywhere near back then what they are now. They weren't anywhere near as important, and they weren't anywhere near as ubiquitous. And a big part of Xbox's strategy moving forward are games as a service, platform as a service. So adding some serious online functionality to Fable tracks with their
Yeah.
business plan. You know, and again,
Right,
like,
but serious online stuff doesn't mean MMO.
but sure, but at the same time, like I would consider, for example, Destiny to be an MMO, but I wouldn't put it in the same bucket as, you know, World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy.
Well, then, I mean, we can, like, there's no consensus on the terms. We could probably agree that there's no way Microsoft's going to release this as a completely offline 25-hour single-player RPG, right? There's going to be more to it.
With the
than
first
that.
one,
What
the first
we-
one, the third one, you could play as yourself or you can invite a buddy.
Mhm.
So
You know, I think we can all agree that it was a missed opportunity.
Absolutely.
Well, no, like they should have replaced the A in Fable with a 4. I think we can all agree that
I-
would have been
Boo.
that would have
Hell
been a
yeah.
badass move. Yeah, that's some gamer shit right there. Like and everybody would have
Or-
known that.
Imagine if you revealed a game and we could just know what it was like. Like,
That's
imagine
an
if when a game got
interesting-
announced, you could just kind of have an idea of what the game was. Wouldn't that
Imagine-
what a
biggest
world that would be?
problem with the Xbox, like as a whole, it was like you got these cool CGs, but you didn't get to see a lot of like gameplay. Like for instance, Stalker 2, I was like, this looks cool, you know. Like at the beginning, I was like, maybe Silent Hill-ish with, you know, the ash coming down and everything. But then it's just like, okay, it's just a CG game, looks cool. And then but I mean that was all their trailers was CG shit, and that's cool, but like let me see what your next console has to offer. And that's what was disappointing about this conference, is it was just visually, sure, it looks great. I expect that from a next gen console. As far as gameplay, I'm not quite sold, because the only real gameplay we saw was Halo, and that was meh. It wasn't like,
Right.
it didn't sell me.
So does we're getting close to our time here. Does anybody have anything else they wanted to add about Xbox or Nintendo or me?
Tell me why it looks cool.
Finn?
Oh, I was letting Peachia talk about Tell Me Why, because it does.
Did you
look
call her
cool.
Peachia? That's her Twitter handle. Call her Brittney. That's her name.
Fine, I got a peach on my shirt. He's on brand.
We call Finn by his last name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that I want to drive traffic to her Twitter so her rate grows. Like, I'm so sorry that I'm. Anyway, Everwild was my favorite game shown, but I think Medium was a close second.
Medium,
because
yes.
That game I thought does
that
what
game
I
is
was
good.
hoping, and what a lot of the PS5 reveals games did well, which was, even though it wasn't a gameplay trailer, it was a game that after watching the trailer, you had a really good grasp of what the game was. And I thought Medium had a really cool hook and really made me invested in learning more.
Exactly.
And I really liked that about it. And also, Everwild just reminds me of the show The Dragon Prince.
Yes, it did me too.
Oh, such strong vibes on that. And
Yes.
finally, my overall review, I posted it on Twitter earlier, but I feel like it needs to be said for posterity, is that my official review of the Xbox Showcase is no bug snacks out of 10, and therefore, what are you even doing? What's the point?
Right.
Thank you.
So,
for
quick
that,
thing to mention, because Sam is also screaming about it in chat, and I think we'd be remiss if I didn't mention it. But Obsidian announced a new AAA RPG.
What are you talking about, Justin? Skyrim was already announced for next gen.
So I mean, that was cool. That, I think, was probably Stalker 2 existing was probably the most
But Stalker 2 was already
surprising
announced.
announcement for me. Yeah, it was announced years ago and was supposed to be out by now.
Okay.
Stalker 2 has been a thing for a very long time that I don't believe is real. But I mean, seeing that I was blindsided. But Obsidian showing off their new DLC, showing off Grounded, and their new AAA game, like Obsidian's really showing that, you know, they can put out some stuff, and that's a very beloved studio that I think is going to do really well for Xbox.
And interesting on that's Avowed, right? Is their new single player
Avowed.
RPG?
Yes, Avowed.
It's confirmed to be set in Pillars of Eternity.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, like we saw very brief vertical slice of that game, so like I can't say too much about it yet. But it looks cool. Like it definitely looks like Skyrim. Like I got some serious, right, Britt. Like I got some serious Skyrim vibes from, like, you know, one hand holding a sword and the other hand's, like, you know, got your magic going on. Like,
was that part actually gameplay, or was that just like a pre-rendered mock-up?
I think it was just a CG.
Oh, was it just CG?
I don't know.
But
I don't know if it was CG. It might have been in engine. I don't think it was raw gameplay, but I think it was representative of what the game will look like.
I just am really surprised, disappointed actually, that between Sony and Microsoft we haven't seen Deep Down yet. That's a game I've been really looking forward to.
Oh, what about Agent? I'm really looking forward to PS3's Agent.
Really excited about Agent and Deep Down. But we got to start wrapping up here. Finn, go ahead.
I know our friend of the show, Jeff Grubb, made a great post where he was like, do you think the
Jeff
people
Grubb
at
doesn't
Rare...
make good posts?
Yes, he does. He goes, do you think the people at Rare who always hear that we should make a new Viva Pinata and ignore them have seen the response to Bug Snacks and just like kick themselves nonstop?
Thank you! That was my dream, was a new Viva Pinata game. I fucking love Viva Pinata.
So good.
Viva Pinata
Pharaoh was saying the same thing.
Viva Pinata 3 is actually just going to be a mobile gacha game.
And 2 doesn't even count. It's
All right, well, we are bumping up against our 10:30 time here. A little housekeeping real quick. I'm going to be, at some point this weekend, streaming a playthrough of Eternal Darkness on GameCube. Because
nice.
I'm fucking tired of waiting for that game to get an HD upres. And I went out and hunted. It's not, but that game fucking rules. So I am going to stream that, and after that, I'm going to stream some horror games. I'm going to stream after that. I'm going to stream Fatal Frame 2 on PS2, which is probably to this day one of the scariest experiences I've ever had.
Oh my God.
That game is fucking terrifying. Fatal Frame on Switch, please, Nintendo, for the love of God. And next week we have Bronson on the podcast, which I'm really excited about. I'm very excited about having Bronson.
I'm fucking terrified.
I'm so busy next week.
Listen, if you need to boot him and get me in because he's being too wild, I'll be here. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I feel like we have an army of people ready to just throw down on Bronson.
Crime time.
I'm very excited to welcome Bronson to the podcast next week. I'm just very happy about that. And the week after that, we're gonna have Blaine on, and I am legitimately excited about.
Yeah.
Wow, unlike Bronson. Hey, next week we're gonna have Bronson on, but the week after I'm legitimately excited. Oh, that's Bronson.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I have valid reason to not be excited for Bronson because he just openly admitted his first move will be a dab. So
I'd like to point out we did not even mention that. The look on Brittney's face just now.
Wow.
All right, I guess we're done.
All right, good night, everybody.
She's coming back.
Wait. Okay, here I am.
I'll stop dabbing when we get Fable gameplay.
Sorry, Finn.
That's fair.
Wow.
Finn is literally not able to chat for the rest of the night.
Putting Finn on timeout.
Because I banned him in chat for 10 minutes.
Hey, if you ban me as a moderator, do I lose my moderator status?
I hope so.
Let's find out.
We're gonna find out.
We're gonna find out. I guess
we're gonna find out right now. No, I don't think you lose your moderator status. But having said that, if you keep it, I'll be sure to remove it. For that, that's the price you pay for dabbing, Finn. But 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 yeah, no. So that's all we got tonight. And Brittney, thank you so much for joining us. We had a lot of fun.
One thing we have to mention is Final Fantasy VII Remake. They're working on the second part. Full
production.
Full production.
Can't wait to play it in 2025. It's going to be fantastic. I'm going to be fucking 50 years old by the time the last part comes out.
I don't care how long it takes out. I'm so fucking excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah, the first one was so good. Yeah. But yeah, it was great being here. Like, obviously I love you guys, but the community is awesome, and that's one of the main reasons why I stuck around. So thank you guys for having me, and thanks you to the community for always being amazing. Fuck you! Why are you dabbing in a heartfelt sympathy moment?
I am literally going to ban Finn from the chat permanently if he does it.
Finn has just proven the community is far better than we are.
So everybody is great except for Finn. Community great except for Finn. You can put the sock on your shoulder all you want. That's not going to replace anything.
John, quick, take us off before someone gets murdered.
All right. It's not always poetry. We don't always agree, but we always keep it real. Good night.